once they get into the building, but we will not let, like, if a parent comes to pick up a kid, they will not come past the double doors. They will be in there. They will check in, then we'll have the kid come out to them. Because before you could literally walk in, you could just walk all the way through the high school if you wanted.
Right.
So I know the roller door was messed up beyond repair.
That's unfortunate we didn't have it. Take a look at it.
Which
Yeah.
company won it? Was it the ones that were replacing the lights, or?
I'm not sure which one of the companies it was doing it, but I do know that that summer, when we didn't have the summer school down there or whatever, when they were doing all that stuff, they'd propped the door open with a 4x4, and it got all messed up. Because Ross had someone come out, I can't remember if it was Brenco or someone come out and look at it, and they were like, yeah, it's beyond repair.
2 years ago.
I believe it was 2 years ago.
In performance service under their jurisdiction. To Gil's comment, I guess, and again, we were going down a whole new light in how we live. Is it better served anyway to like put a plexiglass across there instead of the door, and to keep social distancing to a limit? You can't do more, but I mean, is that, since we're going to be able to interlock them right in between the two doors, is a more open but yet secure thing better, or you just want to pull it down, be done at the end of the night, and that's it? Or does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me. I just would like to have the office locked up, because you can just jump the counter right now somehow, and I would like to have so people can't just come into the school and get through the first door and take off running down the hallway.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all with what we're talking about. I just want to make sure that instead of just a roll down, are we better served with a different style of security, something there. Instead, if it'd be a better benefit to, so when it's down, you can see inside the office, versus if it's down, you really can't see anything in it if it's locked down, right? So, I mean, I want to give the option that, maybe to think farther outside the box, the easy fix, put a roller in there and let it go down. I understand that. But is it something different that we need to look at?
Well, I would say the door will only be closed when the office is closed, or if it's an emergency of some kind, which I don't know what kind of time frame. I mean, how long it takes to close that door. I just thought it was critical that the office be closed if need be, based on the circumstances in the building. Because as it existed, there was no closure, no security. I think you'd be getting into several $1,000s more if we put in some kind of another set of glass doors for the front of the office.
And bulletproof glass or something.
Well, I'm not sure what purpose it would serve.
So do we need the roller door at all then after we do the other piece?
But this includes the new roller door. The $3,280 is for replacement of that broken roller door.
Right. But if we're putting the money in to secure that front, do we need both?
Well,
I'm saying if right now anybody can get into the office, right, Mr. Reddick?
that is correct. And the other thing that you have is, like, you're at a boys basketball game and people can sneak down the back hall and get into the middle school, and they can get into the office and there's no one there. So the office is really not secure right now.
And that's been that way for 2 years.
Correct.
So I'm not sure the emergency exists today if we can accomplish this in a more long-term way of securing it. I'm not opposed to fixing that door. I'm just wanting to make sure that what's best for you guys, Jake, is being done. Obviously, that whole reception gateway through the front doors is well overdue. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the staff as well behind the counter, so.
Well, I mean, I'm up for anything. I just would like to have it somehow that we could close it off when people aren't there.
Mhm.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we have a
Dan,
motion.
I got a question.
Yes.
On the item G, the paving repair at the high school, are
Yes,
they demolishing existing paving areas and then replacing with new?
I think it's around 2,100 square feet that they're tearing out and putting in a new base. And then it would be, I wanna say it's 3.5 inches of new base and an inch and a half of finished paving.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And I've got one more on the chillers. Dan, did we get 3 bids on that? Or are we locked into a certain company on this one?
As far as I know, we only got the one bid, and it was the only company that would bid on it because of the brand type and the setup.
Anything else? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the project in progress for the 2019 bond for the stated amounts. All in favor, raise your hands, please. Mike? There you go. All right. Hey, thank you. All opposed? Motion passes. Mike's on a little delay there. Okay, item E2, determination of pay for spring coaches, ECA schedule. The questions come up, do we pay, how much do we pay, whatever. The floor is open for a motion, and then we'll have a discussion.
I'd like to make a motion. I make a motion that we pay our spring coaches as scheduled for ECA contract.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pay the spring coaches and on the ECA schedule at 100% level, correct?
Correct.
Discussion?
How much will that amount be?
Pardon me?
How much will the amount be? Do we
I
know?
believe it's 38,000 something.
Somewhere around 38,000?
38 some change, yeah.
It'll be less, it'll be less than that because there's one position that didn't get filled, so like 36 or so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion.
on that?
Oops. What, Mike?
Did Mr. Sims have an opinion on that?
Gavin, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Do you hear me?
I can. Do you have an opinion on this?
Mr. Ronk and I talked about this. It's really very difficult for me because I've been a coach. I understand what it's like to be a varsity coach, and as a varsity basketball coach over the years, I spent more time, obviously, than what I was paid for. So I think that enters into it. There's no question that some of our spring coaches work year-round at trying to make things work properly. I would be the first one to defend them of that. But I do want to share with you a few other things that I think need to be considered. And not that I'm against them being paid at all, but I just want you to know that the athletic department probably spent about $5,700 getting ready for the spring sports season, in which we will sell no tickets, we will have no concession stand sales, we will have nothing, which bothers me a lot. We will not have a alumni golf outing probably, which usually we make about $5,000 on. And I think we're going to be affected when it comes to this fall as far as sponsorships are concerned with small businesses. I really believe that. And I want all of you to realize that my position is a little bit different than everybody else's in that I run a little business. It really, the athletic department is a little business of its own, which tries to take care of itself. And so, I know for a fact I'm going to be out $5,000 just starting the spring sports season. I know for a fact that I'm going to be out about $15,000 in spring sports revenue that I usually have. And I don't know where we're going to be at on fall sponsorships. So it's going to be difficult for the athletic department to deal with some of those issues. And not that that money has anything to do with us, because I understand the difference between ECA pay and what I do in my department. But at the same time, I just want you to know that I'm going to be affected, the athletic department is going to be affected heavily in moving forward. And that's what I want to share with you more than anything else. And I want you guys to make the decision as far as what we do with coaches' pay. I understand that. I work 365 days a year to coach basketball. I understand that. But at the same time, I want you to understand that the athletic department is going to take a beating from this spring. And not that I'm complaining, it's part of the deal, but it's just something I want to share with you.
Mr. Sims, can I ask you a quick question? Are we obligated on any of the official contracts and so forth that we've signed for spring sports? Or those, if they don't work, if they don't get paid, how's that work?
No, it's been amazing. Really, everybody with the IHSA has really come together, and so even though I had contracts, obviously, with all the teams and all the umpires and all the officials and everything else, they have all agreed that even though it was based on a contract, that we will not pay them because they aren't doing the work, so we don't have to pay them. So that's been a good thing. I was worried about that, but that's been a good thing. Really, it's just more than anything else, a loss of revenue, obviously, for the athletic department and the kids missing out, obviously, on the opportunity to participate, which is
I'm missing the school board meeting.
Which is a lot.
It's on
Thank
Zoom.
you. Any other questions?
I have a question for Mr. Sims. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Would you be in favor if we just paid the coaches 50%, all the 50%, and use the money we saved to help the athletic department through your difficult time this spring?
I hope yours comes in better than this.
Yeah, Mike, can you hear me?
Yes,
I'm cutting in and out. Can you try again?
Okay. Yes. To answer your question, I know that we have two sports that had started their seasons with practice. Track had spent about 3 weeks of practice time with no events yet. I know softball had 5 days of practices without any events. And no one else really had even started to practice. But, I don't want to, it's tough on me to try to decide whether coaches should be paid or whether they shouldn't. I'll give you a good example. I know for a fact that some of our spring coaches had spent a lot of time over the winter time getting their kids ready to participate. I know for a fact that our department could use the money somehow. but I also know that probably some of our varsity coaches deserve to be paid some money. So, yeah, Mike, I think my answer would be yes. I think that's probably appropriate in some way if it was possible.
So just so I'm clear then, you think it's fair to pay the coaches 50% and any money we save, help you in the athletic department with that?
Yes, my answer, Mike, would be yes.
I have a question for Mr. Sims.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're not asking our athletic director to take a cut in pay. He's not doing as much work this spring. And that's nothing against you, Kevin. And I'll explain my motion. I'll explain my motion too. We did a good faith gesture by paying all of our employees through the end of the school year. I think it carries over to our coaches that they get the same good faith gesture.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Steve. I don't disagree with what you just said. I guarantee you I'm not doing as much now as what I normally do, because what I normally do is about 14 or 15 hours a day. But I agree with what you're saying. And that's where I think I kind of need to bow out of that portion of it. I More than anything else, Steve, I just wanted to comment on the fact that this spring I'm going to lose money, and I probably coming into the fall I am, and believe me, I'm not opposed to coaches getting a paycheck, but at the same time, I know what kind of beating I'm going to take financially from the athletic department. So
Well, we can visit that when the time comes. That's different funding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's possible that maybe we do our alumni golf outing in July or August.
Absolutely.
We can do to revisit your issues, but those are actually separate issues.
Yeah, and I've actually made phone calls about that. So yes, yeah, I respect your comments, definitely.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the spring coaches ECA schedule at 100%.
Who is this? Gail, I'm in a meeting.
I know
The
Mike's a
school
little
board
bit-
met at 4:30.
Mike's a little bit behind on the thing, so if I ask everybody, all in favor of that motion to hold their hand up for 5 seconds or so here, so I can see what we have. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2. I guess it's Tim. What's Tim? I can't. He's got his hand up. Tim, you got your hand up? Okay, 3-3. Is that correct? Okay, I'm gonna vote against the motion. So the motion fails. Would anybody like to, make another motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to actually make a motion to pay our ECA 50%. I know it's not necessarily what we all would like to do, but I'd rather do it now than have to rob from Peter today to pay Paul later. And it's going to be some tough times. So I don't mind paying, because they have done some stuff in the wintertime. I know sports starts beyond 3 or 4 days before the official practice. So I just will make a motion to pay 50%.
Yeah, we have a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to pay the spring coaches off the ECA schedule at 50% rate. Any discussion on that motion?
I think it's very fair and it'll help Kevin out.
Hearing no other discussion, all in favor, raise your hand, please. 1, 2. All right. All opposed? All right. All vote for the motion. Motion passes. Number 3, the 2021 fee for the Delphi preschool. Mr. Ron?
I think based on the economic situation that we leave it at the low number of $100 per week. It will help offset the costs. There's gonna be staffing changes within that program that's gonna save a considerable amount of money, but I would recommend $100 a week for the 2020-21 school year.
Okay, we're looking for a motion to set the fee for preschool at $100 per week.
Mr. President, I would so move that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the item on the floor. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, all opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, adoption of the modified calendar finish the 2019-2020 school year.
Using a combination of waiver days and e-learning, we would finish up, the last day for assignments would be on May 14th, and then, and May 15th would be the day to complete all the work that's to be done. So, this would be the calendar I would admit to the state that would satisfy the state.
Okay? Looking for a motion?
I make the motion to
I
adopt.
move we
modified
adopt it.
calendar to Finish the 2019-2020 school year.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that item? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second on the floor to adopt the modified calendar to finish the 2019-2020 school year. All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, the first reading of the modified 511 policy. Mr. Ron, I want to touch on that before we make a motion.
The administrators came to me and said that they felt like the policy was confusing and vague the way it existed, and that they would like to see more specific procedures in mind in both accepting students and then doing an annual review for students that we have to make sure that Delphi and the student were a good fit together. And so I think the policy has been rather wide open in terms of accepting anybody who comes, when I think we probably should be looking at our school climate and the operations within the individual classrooms and building levels. So I would recommend, this requires 2, because it's a revision of an existing policy, it takes 2 approvals, and I would just recommend that it be approved on first reading, and then if there are concerns or further modifications that need to be made, we could make that when we consider it for final approval.
Thank you. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for the first reading of the modified policy, the 111. Any discussion on that?
I just had one question. The highlighted
I have a
section.
question, Mr. Ron.
Go ahead,
I'm-
Mr. Smith.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Bill.
Sorry.
I'll wait.
Highlighted section that we received. I was trying to figure out, I wasn't able to access the current version. Is the highlighted all changed, or is there just pieces of within those 2 sections that we changed?
The F is a complete change. other than the first line.
Okay,
And then it stays the same until you get to page 3, and then that is all new language.
okay,
So
thank
all
you.
of the highlighted sections are new language and adding to the existing policy.
Okay, great.
I have a
Mike, did you
question
have
for
a
Mr.
comment?
Rock.
Yes,
I have a question for Mr. Rock. Can you hear?
yes.
On page 3, okay, on page 3, part C, it said, request for transfers received by the superintendent preceding the school year is May 1st. Have you had any requests for transfers yet?
No, we have not, and we may have to make that flexible this first year, only because of what's going on with the change in policy and also with the current situation with our stay-at-home situation. So I would say that as we do the final adoption, we would say for the first year of the adoption of the policy, we would change that date.
Other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I think the administrators especially will appreciate having a much more specific policy in place as we move forward. And if you have concerns or questions about what you see there, please let me know as soon as possible.
Any other business? We've got a couple donations. High school band donation of $1,000 for instrument repairs from Size out of Zai. And the junior class at the high school received a $500 donation from H. Chapman Mechanical. Is there anything you need to add to that,
No.
Mr. Ron? Okay. Any questions or comments on that?
Yeah, I have a question. Was the donation to the junior class for the prom?
Mrs. Circle, are you aware of what the junior class donation was for?
I just wondered if it was for the prom.
Yes, it was for the prom.
Thank you.
Okay, 6, future dates and agenda. We have one date on the agenda, May 11th, 2020 is the next regular board meeting. Anything else anybody needs to add that short list? All right, board comments. Mr. Nipple.
Well, as you can see, I was able to come in today. I'm glad I did because after the exec session, my computer went out, so I'm glad I was able to be here. So other than that, it's good to see everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe and able to carry on somewhat of a normal life. So hopefully things will get better next month. Have a good day.
Thank you. Mr. Priest.
No, he's gone.
It looks like we lost Mike.
I think we lost him. Mr. Meyer.
Not much on this end. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. I do apologize to our coaches. I think we made a wrong decision today, compared to what we've done for all our other employees. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Schwarzkopf.
Yes, I just want to thank all our staff. I mean, I've told many people it's Carroll County at its finest, and everything they've done with the meals, getting everything out, going through continues to keep cleaning. You know, our teachers, our administrators that are out there, I think maybe it's Mr. Reddick, or one of them talked about how we're probably making more contacts today than what we probably ever have with parents and students on a weekly basis. And I think it's our opportunity to change the game and maybe get some people into that. I also want to make sure that we highlight and keep the Sparks is in our prayer. Karen had been a bus driver, I think, for 23 plus years. And it was amazing that everybody that came out there did the drive-by. I think it was almost like 3 miles long from start to end. So I really appreciate Ross getting that and head that up, Mr. Ronk, just to make sure you let him know.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Priest, you back with us? Maybe not.
I'm here. Is it my turn?
Okay. Got any comments?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'd like to thank the custodial staff for the 2,000 meals that they're sending out for breakfast and lunch every Monday and Wednesday. They're doing a phenomenal job. Also like to congratulate Ross for organizing the buses to get all those meals delivered to the kids. And also thanks for Ross for the bus tribute he made for Karen Sparks at her funeral at the cemetery. That was very moving. It was just impressive. So thank you for what you did for that, Ross. And thank you for the written reports for all the administrators. I read them. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Okay, hey, I just want to say thanks to everybody. Corporation-wide, what an unprecedented time. We're just seeing some really amazing teachers, staff, aides, the things that are being done to support students in this really weird time. Parents need more support probably than the students through this. So I want to acknowledge everybody that's part of that. I also, Kirk made a comment about the opportunity to make changes. This does give us an opportunity to reflect on what we can do better with virtual technologies. And so down the road, after this is all over, we probably want to sit around and revisit what we can do differently that we've not taken advantage of. So some good will come out of this. It's disappointing for all of our seniors for sure. But I also want to acknowledge and send condolences to Jerry and Carly Sparks, and the video of the buses was very moving, and what a great tribute to a lady that served our corporation so well, and her husband who's been a part of us as well for so many years. So thanks for everybody that was involved in helping with that, Ross specifically. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Strasser?
Well, I'll try to keep it short, but I'll just echo everybody's sentiments on everybody that's going above and beyond. And and we do need to take notes, because without a vaccine, I think we're going to have to revisit this in the fall, and things will be changing going forward. That's all that I have.
Thank you. I'll just tack on by telling everybody to appreciate them being meeting day, and please be safe. Stay safe as much as you can. Looking for one. Oh,
I'd like to make one more comment. I would like to acknowledge Brian McCammon for his dedication to coaching our basketball team for 5 years. He did a good job, and I want him to know that I appreciate what he did. So I hope we can bring somebody in to fill his shoes and continue on his tradition that he's kind of started. So just want to acknowledge his effort that he did. So that's it.
What did you want to say?
Board, I don't know, board members, how you feel about social distancing and whether or not we can meet as a board if we stay separated. We do need to have an exec session again, and I don't know if you feel comfortable coming in here as long as we, stay in our own corners, or whether you would prefer to do it like we did today. Is there any feedback on that?
Perhaps a modified for those that are okay coming in, maybe, and staying out in out in the old garage where we can distance ourselves?
I would say that or go to the library. That room's probably too small to house everybody.
I'd go to the library.
Okay. Well, we may
I'm
come up
fine
with
with
something.
coming in.
But either or, like Gil said, just, you know, if you wanna come in, we'll distance and we can meet face to face, and if not, why, those that wanna stay home and be super safe, that'd be fine too. Okay, looking for one last motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Sorry for the interruption.
Mike, your delay made it look like you were opposed to adjournment.
What?